Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one, the only Johnny TCG coming at you with more Red Purple Kid content. The people need it and I'm going to provide it. My last video was an in-depth deck breakdown, so I'm not going to cover that again. I'll put links to it in the comments and in the description because I think you're really going to like that video if you like Red Purple Kid as a leader, and if you're watching this, you probably do. The only change I've made to the deck list since that video is just adding one more Porsche and dropping down one. When you're at sea, you can fight pirates. Other than that, the deck is completely the same. I added another Porsche because this card is just so good in this deck. Being able to, on turn 2, throw down a Porsche, look for a Tony Chopper or another Porsche from your top 5 of your deck. Then you can play out a Mr. Tube on Clay, a Heat, a Tony Chopper. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think in this meta, in my opinion, flooding the board is just so good because you've got decks like Lucci that are going to remove your characters really quickly. You've got decks like Bonnie that are going to rest at least one of your characters almost every turn. And you've got Dofi that's going to flood the board as well, so you need to make sure that you have the bodies to combat them. All that to say that I think that if you can pull out this combo early in the game, you are going to get off to a great start. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. So, I love it. I've got 4 games to show you on the sim with this leader against a variety of leaders and colors. Before we do that though, I do have a custom Don to give away. Today I've got a custom Manga Edward Newgate Don to give away. I'll throw it up on screen. Boom. It is holographic. It is taken straight from the manga. All you have to do is leave a like and a comment, and I will send this to one random US-based commenter if this video gets 15 likes in the first 24 hours. So hit that like button, leave a comment. If you're feeling crazy and out of control, subscribe. It'll be the best thing you've done all day. Actually, probably not. It might even be the worst thing you've ever done because you'll end up with off-meta spice in your subscription feed, and who wants that? And that's enough chit-chatting though. Let me roll the gameplay. First game up against Starter Deck 10 Luffy. I decide to mulligan my first hand. Even though we do see the Porsche and the Dragon, I wasn't satisfied with the amount of counter or kind of mid-game options we'll have. My mulligan hand is alright, nothing to play turn 1, but I can play the Bond Clay on turn 2, which I do like. Then we could progress from Eustass Captain Kid 5-drop to 8-drop Dragon. 6,000 at me, I will take that. 3 Don left up, and we see them play the Zoro Joro. We top deck the Porsche, which we can use her ability, draw Tony Chopper, which is nice, and then I'm going to play out the Mr. Tube on Clay off of her ability. That is such a killer combo. I can even play Tony Chopper 2 this turn if I want to, depending on what I decide to do with leader. I'm going to swing at their life and use leader ability to minus a Don. Now I'm playing out Tony Chopper and getting a Don back as rested. For 4 Don, I was able to get 9 Don worth of characters on board and swing into leader. They're going to give 1 Don to Zoro Joro and swing 5,000 at my leader. I'm leaning towards countering out of this just because I do have the 1k to spare, and who knows what else they're going to play this turn. 5 Don left up. We're going to see 4 of it on their Nami, and they're going to swing 6,000 at me. Now this I might take, or I'll counter out of it. That decision might be a little bit questionable, but it's not the end of the world. It's just 1 2k. 7,000 at me, and I will take this. Let's see what we can get. We got the Tony Chopper blocker. I'll take it. We've got 6 Don to work with. We'll probably play out our 5-drop Eustass Captain Kid. We're going to go 6,000 with Porsche into Zoro Joro. And I'm also considering playing the Heat and the Tony Chopper, but really the Eustass Captain Kid is the best play, I think, here. Now we're going to swing with leader and use leader ability, so we're swinging 7,000 at them. They give me the 2k. I decide not to swing into the Nami just because if they want to swing with that again, they'll have to add Don to it. They play Edward Newgate 9-drop, boosting their leader up to 8,000 and swinging at Porsche. I will block with Tony Chopper out of that. And while that's not necessarily a bad play, I don't think, my Mr. Tube on clay is now 10,000 power, which is crazy. They might not have had many other better options, and with my clay in active position, it would have been hard for them to get it off the field, but that's great for me. Now we're going Dragon and using leader ability to swing 9,000 with leader. They counter out of that one as well. I almost forget to swing with Dragon, but now we'll swing 10,000 and they take that. They are down to 1 life. They're at 10 Don. They're immediately going to throw 1 Don on Nami and swing 3,000 at Bon Clay. I'm thinking of free blocking this with my Eustass Captain Kid blocker. If they want to get rid of the Mr. 2 Bon Clay, they'll have to swing into it with something else. Playing Monkey D. Dragon, they're able to put 2 Don on Edward Newgate, and they'll probably swing into my Dragon, and using Whitebeard's ability, they can KO the Bon Clay. I regret nothing. 12,000, I can get out of this. I'm trying to do the math right now if I can get out of a Monkey D. Dragon swing as well, and I decide I am going to keep this Dragon alive. If I can, I will likely be able to go for game next turn. I have to let the Eustass Kid die because I needed to make sure I had a Don for the Dragon to survive. If they would have given that last Don to the Dragon, I would not have been able to keep it alive, and they maybe would have won this game. I'm going to start out with 8,000 with Porsche into their leader. We're going for lethal here. 1 Don up, they had the Radical Beam. Now I'm going to go for 9. Swinging for 10 may have been a better idea, but we get it. And now it's time to just Don up on leader and use leader ability too, so we'll be swinging big. And before I get the chance, they concede. Not much they could do there. GG's. Next up, we have a game against Green Yellow Yamato. I mulliganed the first hand, and as usual, I am not sure why I did. That first hand was perfectly fine, debatably even better than this. So, yeah, you live and you learn. I was looking for a Porsche into Tony Chopper or Porsche into Heat, but the second hand is decent. We had the Tony Chopper out to block their first hit. We have plenty of 2Ks. I do have the Porsche, which is great. I'll be able to play that. I'm going to start out by swinging 5, and they give me a 1K. Now I'm going to play out the Porsche. I search for the top, get nothing. But I will be able to play a Tony Chopper off of Porsche, which is nice. Porsche. Who the heck is Porsche? The Tony Chopper is very nice in this situation. Early game, it lets me re-ramp it on and stay on track. They're going to do another big swing of 8,000. I am going to block this again. These early Tony Chopper blockers are absolutely amazing, because they're putting a ton of Don on their leader just to swing and have it blocked. They leave 2 Don open, which is interesting. I'm not sure what they're thinking with that. I bet it was a Hiyori where they wanted to take the top life and put on maybe a Kikanojo. But since I'm not at 3 life or less, they didn't want to do that. It would be pointless. So they'd rather just keep the 2K in hand. They counter out of the Porsche swing, and then I just play out the 6-drop Sanji, block her up, and prepare for this next swing. They're going to go 7 Don for Hody Jones and rest my Sanji. They're going to go 5 into lead. I am going to give them the 1K, make it really tough for them. I'm not letting them take my life, especially with that double attack. And then if Hody Jones swings in a life, I'll let them have it. They go for the Sanji blocker, and I'll just let them have that. I need to keep the counter for my life, not trying to get caught by a double attack. I'm at 8 Don, so close to being able to play that 9-drop Kaido, which would be an absolute beast in this matchup. I'm going to start out by going 6 into their leader. They counter out of that. A little surprising. I don't think they really needed to. I'm going to give 1 Don to my leader and use leader ability to swing 7. You'd think they'd run a lot of triggers, but so far, none. Then we're just going to play out the 6-cost Sanji blocker. If they have another Hody and rest that, well, so be it. We do have 4K of counter in hand, which is very nice. They are at 9 Don to work with. 9 cost Zoro would be very awkward. I'm not sure how many green-yellow Yamato decks play that, but in any green deck, you need to be prepared for the worst. Green-yellow Yamato is such a boom or bust deck. If you don't draw counter early on, it will really mess you up quickly. 9,000 at me. I'm debating on whether or not it's time for me to start taking life. It would give me some resources in hand, which I would really appreciate. But do I really want to take a double attack? What could they possibly play for 5 Don here? The Momonosuke blocker that I'm thinking of would not be able to put the Hody Jones on top of life, so it wouldn't get a ton of value. I decided to take this hit. We do get the when you're at sea, you fight pirates trigger, which is great. We get a radical beam, which will be nice to have as a backup, and then we get a Porsche. Still with 5 Don left, they do play a Hiyori to take the top card out of their life and replace it with something. They have yet to swing with their Hody. They're going to give 2 rested Don using leader ability to Hody Jones and swing 10. Are they going at life? Are they going at Porsche? I'd say go for Porsche, and they do. They leave 3 Don up, which is interesting. I'm not sure what that could be for, or maybe it was just a misplay. We've got 9 Don to work with. I think I'm just going to swing into life with Eustass Captain Kidd and risk it being a trigger. They are going to Blaze Slice out of that, which is cool. I was not expecting that card, but always appreciate to see some interesting events in a deck. We're going to go with the 9-drop Kaido. I'm going to swing into the Hody Jones, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have enough counter for it. Maybe I should have just went into life. They have another Blaze Slice to use, and then they give me the 2K. I'm not sure if that was the best way to do that turn. Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe I should have done differently. Maybe I would go Porsche, search for Tony Chopper, so then I get a blocker. It will be hard for them to deal with this Kaido. I do have a decent amount of counter in hand. If they just throw all their Don on Hody Jones, though, it is what it is, and I won't be able to stop it. They've got the second Hody Jones to rest my Sanji blocker, which is not ideal. And then they play down a Hiyori to exchange their last life card. They're going to go 10 with their first Hody in the leader. I am going to take this, and I do get the 1K Eustass Captain Kidd blocker. That would be nice counter to have. I can save this Sanji, which I think is the right move, just because next turn I want as many swings as possible. They could have put a beige trigger. They could have put a... I forget the name of the 0-cost yellow event trigger, but that guy, you know the one. And now they're just going to go 5K into lead. They probably have another Blaze Slice they're saving. I'm going to go for it here and put 1 Don on the Sanji and then swing into leader. Depending on what happens here, I may throw down the Eustass Captain Kidd blocker, and then using leader ability to return 1 Don, I will get 1 back as active and have the Radical Beam there for safekeeping. They take the Kaido hit, and I decide I'm just going to go all in, swing for 10, use leader ability, swing for 12, we got him. Now it's time to play some blue decks. First up we have Blue Yellow Ace. A very fun, but I find inconsistent deck. I wish I was good with it, but I'm just not. We're on the odd curve. I am going to play When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates, and take the 6-drop Sanji blocker. I do see the Porsche that we bottom deck, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. We would have loved to drew into that next turn, but it was a couple cards lower. They're going to play the event from starter deck 13 twice. First, they draw the ace from starter deck 13, and then the second one they whiff, which is really interesting. 5K from leader, and they do take that, so now they're down to 3 life, and we're going to play out a Tony Chopper just to get a blocker out there. 2 down on leader. They have the Portgas D ace using leader ability, and then they're going to play out the baby ace. Now they've got a 7K leader and a 5-drop. On their 4 Don turn, which is not ideal, but we will persevere. 9,000 at me. I'm just going to take this. Bon Clay is a solid card to get. I think I'm going to go Eustass Captain Kidd blocker so that I can use leader ability and get Don back. Of course, I can't use it this turn because they have power boosted themselves, and I still am at 4 life, so I'm minus 1000 on my own turn. Playing out Garp, they do get starter deck 13, Monkey D. Luffy. Using leader ability, they add Monkey D. Luffy from OP07 to their life. They get to play it out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not good. They are applying a lot of pressure, and they have built up a solid board pretty fast. I've got 7 Don to work with. I am kind of debating what my options are. I'm thinking about going Mr. Tube on Clay, which will be decent to copy one of their bodies next turn. I debate swinging in, and I will swing in, but putting them down to 2 life does mean that their 5-drop Luffy's ability is active, so that is debatably a misplay. Since I have both Heat and Mr. Tube on Clay on the field, at least they will only be able to get one of them. Most likely. It's possible through some shenanigans they get both, but on that, with just one Luffy, they'll only be able to get one of them. They do some manipulating life, and they've got another bounce Luffy, which is not cool. They're going to swing 8,000 with the first one, and I'm going to take that. They may or may not use his ability. They do, and get rid of the Bon Clay. Fair enough. Now we got 9,000 coming at me with the leader. I am going to take that. I am not going to use a blocker just yet. I want to keep that on the board. It is now time to use my 9-drop Kaido. I go with the 5-drop Monkey D. Luffy with his ability, and I think that is the right play there, so that he won't be able to pop the Heat next turn. Because of Kaido's minus Don ability, Heat is now at 6,000 power, and I've regained Don as active using Eustass Captain Kidd's ability. Now I'm just debating on whether or not I want to play out a blocker Chopper so that I have another blocker on the field, or if I want to leave a Don open for Radical Beam. I decide I will leave a Don open for Radical Beam, and I'm going to swing 7 with Heat. They're going to give me the 1k. Now it's time to swing with leader. Using leader ability, I'm down to 5 Don, which is not an amazing feeling, but I am feeling pretty satisfied with my board right now. They're going to give me a 1k Monkey D. Garp Searcher, and now 10,000 with Kaido, and they block out of that with Ace. We've removed all of their big bodies from the field. They've got 10 Don to work with, but I like where we're at. They hit me with the pudding, which is absolutely tragic. I was so content with our hand right there. We had a ton of cards. At least this new hand has some blockers and some 2k counters, but man, that one hurt. They're going to go 10k into Heat, and the old me would have countered out of this, but I'm going to play it a little bit more conservative and just let it go. It would have required 3 cards to save it, so that is a little bit silly. We're going to throw another 5-drop Eustass Kid out, meaning that when we minus Don, we are going to get 2 Don back, which is huge. Using leader ability, we are going to swing 8,000 into their life. They give me 1 2k, and do they have another? They do. They have another 2k. Now it's time for a 10,000 power swing from Kaido. They are getting backed into a corner a little bit. They've got a lot of characters on field, but no threatening swingers. I'm going to play the Porsche, looking for a Tony Chopper. We get another Porsche off of it, which is fine, but it doesn't really help us right now. But at least we established another body to swing with. For 6 Don, they Gum Red Rock the Kaido. RIP Kaido, you served your purpose very well. They're going to throw 2 Don on leader and use his ability. They're going to whiff on it, choosing not to take any cards, and then just swing 6,000 with Pudding. I am going to give them the 2k here, just to play it safe. I don't think it really matters, though. I think I've got this matchup in the bag. 7,000 at me. I'm actually going to take this one, and we do get the Rush Luffy, which is nice. And then we top deck the 9-drop Kaido. I don't really think we can go wrong on this turn. I'm going to start out by swinging 5 with Porsche. Just see what they give me. Whittle that hand down, and then either load up leader or maybe play Kaido or Luffy. 6,000 with one of my kid blockers. They are going to give me 2 cards. Now it's time for my Eustass Captain Kid swing, and I'm just going to Don up on leader. I was kind of debating if it makes more sense to Don up or play another character, but it really makes no difference. GG's. Our last game up is against Blue Dofi. Put a W in the comments if you've made it this far so I know who the realist viewers are. They're going first. They're going to play the Perona, set the top of their deck. Ooh, they put it on the bottom. We love to see that. That is such a bad feeling as a Dofi player to have to put all the cards on the bottom of your deck. They're going to be swinging blind if they don't set it up with another card. They are gonna use leader ability, and let's see, they do blindly get the crocodile, which is good for them. I respect the blind Dofi swing, so I gotta give it to them. I'm gonna take the hit, and we do get the Tony chopper blocker. We might play this off the Porsche. We've got 4 Don to work with. I would love to clear this crocodile off board. I'm gonna swing 5,000 with Eustass Captain Kid. They give me the 2K, no 1K for them. And then we're going to play Porsche, draw the Porsche, and then we are debating between playing Tony Chopper or Heat. I decided to go Heat because I am going to want a lot of bodies to swing into them if they decide to flood the board. 5 down for them. They're going to play out the Perona, and this time they will organize the cards on the top of their deck. I've got to be prepared for some Dofi shenanigans now. They're going to swing 7 and use leader ability, and they get the Jinbei into Crocodile. They leave 1 Don up. Are they going to use Croc's ability? They do not, which is interesting. I wonder if they meant to. 7K at me. I think I should take this. We do get the Gum Jet Gatling. I'm debating on whether or not if I want to use the trigger. I decide that I will, just because I'm going to want to get a lot of Don so that I can play out my bigger bodies later on in the game. If I hopefully see them. So far I have not seen them. They swing 6 with the Croc, and I am going to counter out of that. I'll start with 6,000 into the Jinbei. We want to clear as many characters from their board as possible. They are going to give me a Jinbei, which is a little bit of a surprise. I would think they're going to protect their board a little bit more, but it is what it is. I'll take it. We're going to play Porsche into Tony Chopper to ramp it on. We love to see that. Now, Heat is up to 6,000, which we will swing into Crocodile with. They let that one go as well. And now we're going to swing 7 with Leader. And now we're going to throw down another Tony Chopper. We now have a full board. This is going to be a problem for them to deal with it. Even if they play Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, we do have a little bit of counter in hand to save whatever characters they do not bottom deck. 6,000 into my Heat. I don't want to let him go. I'm going to block out of this just in case they pulled some shenanigans, but I think actually countering out of that might have been better. We're going to counter out of the 5K swing into Porsche with Heat in my hand. Now they're going to play the Boa Hancock to freeze the Heat. They bottom deck one of their own Peronas, which I wonder if they thought that meant return it to their hand. We play the When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates, and we draw the Hitokiri. For 5,000, we're going to go into the Crocodile. I feel like this Dofi has had an abnormally small hand for most of this game. Where did the cards go? That's what I'm saying. They let the Croc go, so now I'm going to go 6K into life. They take that. I've got 6 down to work with. I'm just going to swing 5 and use leader ability, so I'm really swinging 7. And then we're going to go Rush Luffy from starter deck 1, the one and only. And we're going to swing 7 with him. I debated leaving one Don open for the Radical Beam, but I just decided that making them give me 2k or 3k worth of counter if they wanted to get out of that hit was just so important. So that's why I don't leave any up. I do have some counter in hand. I've got one blocker still. I'm going to try to keep as many cards alive as possible. They do see the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger to bottom deck the starter deck 1 Luffy and the Chopper blocker. Now they're going to go 8,000 into Porsche. I'm just going to let that go. Not going to use my entire hand to save it. And now 7 into this Porsche. Now I am going to kind of counter a lot to save this one, just because I want to continue putting pressure on their life. We top deck the Franosuke, which is not what we want to see right now. 2k is cool to get, but we would definitely prefer a Monkey D. Dragon or another bigger body. We're going to start by swinging 8,000. If they want to get out of this, they'll have to give me 4k in counter. They take that one, and now it's time to swing with Leader for 9,000 using Leader ability. They take that one as well. I'm just going to go all in here. Let's swing 9 with Heat. I leave one open for Radical Beam, but they have a completely bricked hand. That is absolutely rough for them. Alright, those are the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? I think in the blue-yellow ace one, in the beginning I was a little nervous. I think my opponent got off to a great start, but eventually we made our way back, and I'm happy that we pulled out with the W. Don't forget to like and comment if you want to win the custom Whitebeard Don. One commenter will get it shipped out to them completely free. If you made it this far, you're a beast. Shoutouts to you. That's all I got for today. Have an amazing rest of your day. Let me know what leaders you want to see me play next. OP08 is right around the corner. Get out of here.